Welcome back for another installment of our top 100 games of all time. I am having a blast with this. How about you?
Yeah.
This is really fun. Okay, so this is our part four.
Yes.
We are down to, this is our 70 through 61.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe it is your turn to go first?
Yes. I'm going to kick it off. My number 70 is Journey to the Center of the Earth. I got this a couple years ago at Gen Con for like $5.
This is more than a couple years ago now. This is like 4 years ago.
It was on the clearance rack in the Mayfair booth. It was $5.
Oh God, too soon. Too soon, the Mayfair booth. Oh.
And I read the book. I loved the book. And I was pretty sure that this game was going to be Terabad.
But it wasn't.
But I was like, for $5... You know, if it's Terabad, who cares?
We've bought a lot of...
But it was a good game, surprisingly.
We've bought a lot of discount games, but just because they were discount. And there have been a lot of them that were Terabad. And this is the best game. It didn't make my top 100, but this is the best game we've ever bought on a discount rack.
It does sort of similarly go through what you do in the book. You go down the
extinct volcano.
Yeah, the volcano. Then there's the water, and then you shoot up out of the volcano, which you would have died if that actually happened.
If it was real, yeah, you would have died. Yes, because lava.
I know.
Lava is why you would have
Yeah.
died. Oh my God. Well, actually, you're in the earth, so it's magma. Technically magma. I corrected myself. You don't need to comment down below.
Anyway, I love Jules Verne's books because I believe in his mission to educate people through adventures.
It is too bad that all of the things that he was educating people on were proven wrong later.
This was
the Hollow Earth theory.
Well, no, it was thermodynamics.
But it was also the Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, true.
Which turned out to be total bogus. But everybody back then, that was a popular theory back then in the 1800s.
But I mean, you read Mysterious Island, and all of a sudden you have the information how to make dynamite out of everyday things.
Don't you ever do that.
So
moving along. I think you might be cut off from Jules Verne books right there. Okay.
I've already read them all.
Damn it. Okay. So my number 70 favorite game of all time is a game that is one of those little asymmetrical games that have been all the rage lately, and for good reason. When you can do an asymmetrical game and get it fairly balanced and fairly quick, they can be quite enjoyable. And this is one of those. And this is The Blood of an Englishman. Now, one player plays the giant, the other plays Jack. This is the story from Jack and the Beanstalk. The giant is trying to reorganize the stacks of cards so that he can get fee-fi-fo-fum either going horizontally or vertically adjacent to one another, while Jack is trying to remove cards from the stacks to eventually collect the different treasures. And this is just a really good game. We've played it a bunch. I played it with a bunch of other people too. I bought this game as a present for other people because of how much I like it. And this is just, we have other asymmetrical games, but we don't have anything that plays quite like this one does. The whole reorganizing the stacks of cards is really cool. You've liked this game quite a bit.
It's okay.
It didn't make your list that I'm gathering. Okay, but that is okay. And this is my number 70 favorite game of all time. Blood of an Englishman.
My number 69 is a classic game, Fantasy Forest. A children's fantasy adventure.
I can't believe this is this high on your list.
What do you mean?
This is like an upgraded version of Candyland.
Right, but
done by TSR.
There's multiple options to go on. There's multiple paths. It's not linear. If you have the right cards, you can take shortcuts.
Yes.
And you can fight the other players if you really want to.
There is some good hand.
Yeah.
There is some good hand management in this.
It's you use cards. You have a hand of cards, and you use the cards to move. You also use them to fight the other players. If you go into the same space as a player, you basically have like a high card
and you know what?
Kind of deal.
Okay, I don't agree with it being this high on your list. But that being said, so I believe it's Hasbro owns the rights to this now. because Hasbro bought the rights to everything TSR as well as many other things. I think actually the way it worked was Wizards bought out TSR, then Hasbro bought out Wizards of the Coast. So they got all the TSR IPs in the deal. Mm-hmm. Now they already owned the rights to Candyland, and they keep Candyland in print for some reason because it is just a mind-numbing children's game. This is a step up from Candyland. I almost feel like they should re-release this under like a Candyland's Fantasy Forest or something, because it kind of is like a step up from Candyland, and they have the rights to it, and they've never done anything with it. And it would be like if they did this as Candyland's Fantasy Forest, it would sell because it's Candyland, and people think of Candyland as a kid's game. And I don't know why they haven't. They kind of should. I will. That's the level of agreement I'm willing to do, is that they should reprint it.
Okay. This was my childhood game, so it's
That's
just
fair.
Fond memories, and I still enjoy playing it.
It was your Grail game for a while till somebody bought it from you off eBay. Mm-hmm. I wondered who got you a present of that.
I don't know.
Who's that wonderful person?
We might never know.
We might never know who that wonderful person was. Damn. Okay. Fine. My number 69 favorite game of all time is a game that some other wonderful person that now will remain nameless got me as a present, because they knew that I liked the video games of it, and the style of board game they knew was something that was very unique and different and would very much appeal to me, because I love when designers are able to come up with very unique games, and that was Portal.
I was actually terrified that you were going to hate this game.
Were you?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you just read me really well. No. Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game. This game really surprised me. I was, like, when you bought it for me, I was like, oh, okay, a Portal themed game. And I was worried it wasn't going to be good. And then we played it, and I was like, oh my god, this game is so weird and unique and delightful. And yeah, this game has earned a place in our collection. I really enjoy this. I have heard other people disagree with me on this, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I love the moving board. I love the trying to collect pieces of cake on the board of your own color while your opponents are trying to manipulate the board to incinerate your cake. I love that a big part of it is that the game will suddenly end if all of someone's pieces of their actual test subjects are incinerated. So sometimes you incinerate all of your own test subjects just to kill the game while you have the most cake on the board. This game is amazing. I just really like it. It's very fun. And that is my number 69 favorite board game of all time, Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game, which I will never say without saying the subtitle because it's so fun.
My number 68 is Sherwood's Legacy.
You know, I was wondering when we were going to start getting into all the cooperative games, because you love cooperative games.
Well,
no, I'm not.
I guess I do kind of.
You do. I'll bet you there's going to be a lot more cooperative games on your list.
This is Robin Hood themed.
I like this game a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like a cooperative war strategy almost.
It almost feels like a tower defense game, because you're like, but you can move around and attack them differently, and there's resource management.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for jumping all over the description for you, but yeah, no, I do like this one too.
Yeah, and there are each character has unique player powers too.
I love asymmetrical player powers. Yeah. I think I was Friar Tuck last time we played, and I quite enjoyed his powers, actually.
I think I was Robin.
Yeah, of course you're Robin. Really? You don't say. You played Robin Hood? You will buy anything they put Robin Hood theme on, and you will always want to be Robin, so not surprising.
I'm never Robin when we play the Duke. I'm always...
Well, it's because you like being Guy of Gisborne more.
I will, yes.
So, my number 68 favorite card game. It is a card game. Well, no, but it's also a board game. My favorite board game of all time, I don't know why I said that, is Jiraku. Now, this is a game that is another one where they fit a large game in a small box, because this is a really tiny box. But this is a board game, card game hybrid where you're doing trick-taking in order to do area control.
Yeah, I was going to say it's also area control.
This is like one of the weirdest combinations of mechanics, and I find it delightful. Like, I think it's so cool to do a trick-taking game where winning the tricks lets you play samurai on the board to control the different areas. But then in regards to that, it's not really a war strategy game. You're just trying to control the areas to earn the points at the end of the round. And I love this game. This game is a lot of fun. It's got a beautiful Japanese watercolor art style. My only complaint is the scoring. The scoring board on this is a little bit problematic because of the snaking. I like the overseas version of the board better, where the scoring was just a track around the outside of the board. But they put that one in a bigger box. But you know what? I would like to get my hands on like maybe one of the Asian or European releases of this to get the bigger board. That is something that I would definitely like to get my hands on. But there you go. That is my number 68. A game that I've enjoyed quite a bit and will play many times in the future, Jiraku.
My number 67?
Is it your 67?
Yes.
You seem like a question mark there.
67 is Pagoda. Let me just double check. Yes.
Okay.
Pagoda. You mentioned it in a previous
part of this list.
Part
yes.
of the list.
I don't remember what number it was now, but yeah, I do like this game a lot too.
Yeah, is it strictly 2-player?
It is strictly 2-player.
It is.
Well, when we first got this...
It seems like it should be not 2-player. I don't think of it as a 2-player game.
I don't know why. When we first got this, so like I love the tower building game of Patrician. When we first got this, I was like, oh my god, it's like a 2-player Patrician. Mm-hmm. And it kind of is, and it's kind of why I like it too. I think it's really good, but it's a little different too. It is its own game.
Yeah.
So that was your number 67. Now my 67 is a classic game that made my list, and you've already talked about it. And I was surprised when I was making my list how highly I still like this game. But this is a game that the first time I got a copy of it was for like my birthday back in the 1980s when I was in elementary school. And that is Scattergories. Now, the thing is, Scattergories is just like this simple, fun, kind of party game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is a game where, even though it's a classic, even though it's fairly old, still holds up to today, is still enjoyable, and it's still one that hits our table from time to time. You roll a die, you get a number, you got a list of 10 categories, and you have to come up with answers for those categories that start with the appropriate letter, and that's really all there is to it. And it's just still enjoyable. I mean, this newer edition we have even had extra lists with more categories on it. And this is the kind of one I played with people where they've come up with their own lists of categories.
Yeah.
Because it's that cool that like people like to mod their version of Scattergories.
Okay, so my number 66 has already been mentioned in this video. It is Portal.
Oh,
Uncooperative cake acquisition game. One of my favorite things about this game is the picture of the family on the back.
Who all look like they're about to murder the daughter because she must have like burned all of their pieces. They all look so angry.
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, because there is you know what? This is another one where like I had talked about a game with a lot of viciousness a little earlier on the list, which was Mistborn, and this is another one where there can be crazy amounts of viciousness in this game. And, but it's fun.
Yeah.
You gotta play it with the right group of people,
It's fun, and it doesn't quite work like any other board game because the board changes. It's like a conveyor belt. It just keeps moving. It does,
and you get to keep it moving. And what number was that for you?
That was 66.
That was your number 66, yes. Favorite game of all time. Portal, which already was, that was a crossover for this section of the list. Now, my number 66 favorite game of all time, it's a very light war strategy game, but it's one that you and I have played together, and it was a big hit with us. We very much enjoyed it. It was a present you bought me, not expecting to like it yourself, and then you enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
And that is Rivet Wars Eastern Front. Now, this is a game that has been discontinued now. They don't print it anymore, but it was from Cool Mini or Not. Now wanting you to call them Simon, which I don't understand why it's Simon and not Come On when it's either. Cool when it was Cool Mini or Not. But this was a really fun, cartoony, alternate world version of World War I, where they have like gas punk mechs and stuff, walking tanks and all that. And you know what? This was just, I mean, it's not about killing each other. It's about seizing and holding objectives. And one of the interesting things about this is you get to keep spawning new guys every round. So even if like your guys get wiped out, next round it's like, oh look, more soldiers, more guys on motorcycles, another tank, and it just more stuff comes out. And this is a delightful little game. It's actually, it looks like it should be a big game, but it's actually a little game because it's level of complexity. Well, but level of complexity is pretty high. Like this is real quick to learn. I almost wanted it to be heavier. I kind of did want it to be heavier, but you know what? I like that this fills a niche we didn't have as a light war strategy game in our collection.
Okay, number 65 for me is Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh, I know you do love this game. Not surprising.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I've played it more recently than you because I played it when I visited family in Brooklyn on January.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the first time I had played it
in a while.
In probably years, and it was still really fun.
It's a really good worker placement. It's just we've gotten so many other worker placements more recently that we grabbed the other worker placements first before this. But this is a great game.
And I mean, it pretty much all came back. I mean, it's one of the first worker placements, so it's very simple. It's a straight up worker placement. Yeah, there's not a lot going on, but that's okay. I mean, sometimes you want just a simple, straightforward worker placement where there's not too much
to worry about. Yeah. No, it's a very good one. I do not disagree with your choice at all. That's a good pick. So now that was your number
65, I believe.
Yes. So my number 65 is a game where there are newer editions and I don't like them. This is specifically an older edition of the game that unfortunately is not in print anymore. And that is Guildhall. Now the thing is, I really like... Now Guildhall, let me explain a little bit. Guildhall is a bit of a set collecting card game where as you play cards, you get to do abilities, and the more of them you have, the more of the abilities you get to get, and when you get large sets, you get to trade them in for points. Now, the grouping of specific card abilities that are in this original version of Guildhall is great. They did a new bunch of versions where they split up these special abilities from here into different versions and mixed them in with a bunch of newer special abilities, and we tried a couple of them, and we're like... we're going to stick with our older edition. Because I just really like the abilities that were in this version. Well,
and this also has the guy who's really happy to be holding some pigs.
Yeah, that guy's weird. But this older version, if you ever see it like for used in a store, I highly recommend this version is my favorite version of Guildhall. And it is my number 65 favorite game of all time, Guildhall.
Okay, so my number 64 is a pick up and deliver game.
Yes.
Firefly.
It's a good game.
It is, I mean, there's an IP on it, but it's basically a pick up and deliver game.
It is.
It also, I feel like with the specific job contracts, it actually gets the feel of the IP.
Oh, no, it's very thematic. Oh, yeah. Very thematic game. I agree. This is one that just missed my list.
Really?
I don't think I got this one like on my list. I think this was one that like it just missed it. I could be wrong. I have to look because actually I made my list a few days ago, and I went through 100 games and I was very critical. But I think this one just missed it. But this is a great game.
Yeah, I do really like it. It's fun.
So my number 64 favorite game of all time is a game that we've had for many, many years and have stubbornly not upgraded to the newest edition, but at some point we may need to because it's getting a bit beat up. But that is Runebound. And as you can see here, we still have the, and are still using, I believe this is the second edition? Does it say it on it somewhere? I'm not sure. But we are still playing this older edition of Runebound. Since this edition, Fantasy Flight has done a new edition where they've merged it into the same universe that Descent is in. And now they've spun it off and have a whole bunch of different games in the same universe. But back when it was this edition, it actually wasn't in the same universe. This was more about trying to save the world from an evil dragon lord who was being resurrected and such. And it's kind of like an adventure game, but a competitive adventure game. You're not cooperating. You're fighting to be the first person to be able to go and defeat the big, bad, evil dragon lord. And this is a great game. And we've played this game a lot. And we still play this game. This game still comes out now and again. Which I think is why we've never bothered to upgrade it, because we actually really like this edition. But yeah, there you have it. That is why Runebound is my number 64 favorite game of all time.
My number 63 is a newer game we just bought, Flags of the World. Again,
you and your flag games.
I like flags. This one comes with a map. I mean, who doesn't want a map of the world?
It's a good educational game.
This one is you each have flags in front of you, and you're allowed to look at the flags in front of you, but the other people have to try and guess what they are. And
you get to pick one and say, okay, I think that's that.
You get to pick, and then you get clues if you're wrong. If you're wrong 3 times, don't get it. The flag goes back to the bottom of the deck. I think it's really fun, and now I know what the flag of Cape Verde looks like. So
yeah, me too. There's no green in it. With a name like Cape Verde, I was like, green. That flag's got to have green in it. There's no green in the Cape Verde flag. That's weird. I don't. Anyway, so
it's educational.
I learned something.
Yes.
Moving on, my number 63rd favorite game of all time is a game that I know will not be on your list because it is a bluffing game, and Lynn does not like bluffing games, but it is Coup. Now, Coup is a very pure bluffing game. Everybody gets a pair of cards. The cards are face down. Nobody else knows what you have. And based on what cards you have, there are special abilities you can do, actions you can take on your turn. So you're saying, well, since I have the Duke, I can take this action. And people have to decide if they're going to call you on it or not. If they call you on it and they're right, you lose a card. But if they call you on it and they're wrong, you reveal that you have that card. Then they lose a card and you get a card to replace it so you can continue bluffing. And basically, you want to be the last person left alive in the game. And even though there's player elimination, this game plays in like 10 to 15 minutes. So you're not waiting around a long time if you're eliminated. So it actually, player elimination's okay in such a quick game. And I really like this game. I just wish I got to play it more often. But you never want to play it because you're not a fan of the bluffing games. But that is my number 63rd favorite game of all time. I keep going card game. Favorite game of all time, and that is Coup. And you know what? Coup is a card game, so that's why.
Yes. My number 62 is The Shadow over Westminster. I have to actually look at it while I say it. Otherwise, I say it wrong.
You get this name wrong almost every time you try to say it.
I don't know. This is a cooperative game.
Yes, again with the co-ops.
Where the players are trying to defeat the sinister darkness. And one of the good things about this is that there are so many different, is it called catastrophes?
Yes.
There's so many, there's like 14 different catastrophes.
It's crazy.
We've never gotten the same catastrophe twice, and it's always interesting to see the different ones.
No, we did get the same one twice.
Did we?
Yes.
Okay.
If we include the time we played it in pre-production, when we play tested it, because we during the pre-production we played the Doom Clock and the Doom
Cataclysm.
The Doom Clock came up once since we bought it.
Okay.
So that was the only one I think that's been doubled.
Yeah.
But actually, there are a lot.
You choose a faction. I think there's 4 factions because it's 1 to 4 players. There's 4 factions. Each faction is a kind of secret society, so you're a member.
And they get an asymmetrical player power.
Yeah, you get a player power.
Which each one has 2, you get 2 to choose from.
Yes, it's double. You get a player card that's double-sided, so you get to choose which player power you want to use. And I think it's really fun.
I'm not usually a fan of the co-op games, but actually this is one of the ones that I like, and I will play with you.
It also has a deck building element too to it.
It does, but that's like not the main part.
No, it's not the main.
It's also
part.
got a worker placement element to it too. There's a lot going on in here. Actually, I do like that game. It didn't make my list, but I do enjoy it. It is a good game. So that was your number, I think.
62.
62. So my number 62 is an ancient game that made my list. Very few ancient games made my list, and mine I have in a nice leather pouch, and it is shown up on some other lists. I'm not going to pull it all open right now. I'm just going to have the pouch to hold as a display, but it is 9 Men's Morris, which just looks like a system of squares with points on it where lines that come out from the middle square intersect, because basically the idea is you just want to move stones around until you can line up 3 in a row. It's part of the same family of games that even include the incredibly simplistic game of tic-tac-toe, but this is much more advanced. And this is one of my favorite abstract strategy classic games. I actually like it better than Go and chess. And I've played it a lot. And there is actually, even though it's fairly simple and you only have 9 pieces per side, and you just have a board that is a system of 3 squares with 9 spaces on each side of the 3 sets of 3 squares, there's a lot of strategic dynamics to this game. But yeah, that is 9 Men's Morris.
My number 61 is A Column of Fire.
Yes. It's the newest part of the Ken Follett series of games.
It has a little rondelle. I think
it's a beautiful board.
Yeah. This is the one where this is the one with the religions.
There's a religious war going on.
Yeah, there's between the Protestants and the Catholics, and I think we've only played it 2 players, but it can go up to 4 players. And
it's a good game.
Yeah, it's fine at 2 players, but I think you have to be the different.
No, you can wind up being the same.
You can?
Yeah, we've been the same.
Okay, I think there might be. It's probably going to be better at more players. I think just by.
We've been playing this. Yeah, we need to play this with larger players before we can review it. But I do agree with you that I've been enjoying this game and it's a good game. Mm-hmm. So there's been no complaints from me on this game. It's a good entry to this series. So my number 61 favorite game of all time is another one that weighs a ton, and that is Caverna. And it weighs a ton because there are just so many wooden parts in here. Now in this, you're building a farm. You're digging out a cave to build a living space for your dwarven farmers and miners. You're doing worker placement. You're doing resource management, and this is just a really fun game. I really enjoy this game. This is one of the ones from Uwe Rosenberg, and he is a really good game designer. And this is actually this is one that I don't think is going. It doesn't hit the table that often because of its weight in that area.
It takes a long time to set up.
Yeah, it takes a long time to set up, but it's not going anywhere from our collection because we both enjoy this game, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be on your top 100 also.
It's like overwhelming how much stuff there is, but it's not actually that complicated.
I know, and I agree that it's a great game. I really do like Caverna a lot. I enjoy building up the farm. I enjoy digging out the cave, and I enjoy the worker placement aspects of it. And I know you like worker placement a lot too. So there you have it. Those are our 70 through 61 favorite games of all time on our top 100 games of all time list. Feel free to comment down below and let us know what you think of our choices for this portion of the list. And please stay tuned as we keep counting down our top 100 games of all time, because we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep releasing these one after another until we're done. And if you enjoy this top 100 games of all time, be sure to give this section a like. Share it on any forms of social media that you may have. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelt with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.